Hey, what is up everybody? This is Stephen Breach coming to you here with a video on the 2018 class of WWE Hall of Famers that are going to be going into the Hall of Fame. I know that this year, it might have been last year, they ended up doing a schedule change, and because I'm not going to Wrestlemania and don't have to worry about it anymore, I know that the Hall of Fame is no longer sort of like the go-home event before Wrestlemania. It's no longer on Saturday nights. Now I think it's either held on Thursdays or Fridays. I'm not quite sure when they give sort of that main event stage to NXT before Wrestlemania, I believe. But this year's class, guys, isn't really knocking it out of the park. I can honestly tell you that this is not the worst group of names I've ever seen go into the Hall of Fame, but I honestly can tell you that this is not a Hall of Fame ticket that I would be really dying to be able to get. This year's Hall of Fame class is being led by Goldberg, definitely one of the biggest stars in the business. I think that Goldberg coming back and having that last little run with the matches against Brock Lesnar last year, as well as the match against Kevin Owens, winning the WWE Universal Championship, was a great exclamation point on his career. It was definitely a rumor that was talked about with him returning to wrestling to be able to show his kids the reason why he's famous, the reason why he's rich, the reason why he has his own action figure, and why people come up to him on an everyday occurrence and sort of show him what he did in his past. Without that, I'm not really quite sure that Goldberg, to me, is the surefire main event Hall of Famer, like the guy that basically his name goes on the ticket and everybody gives the credit to the Hall of Fame class. But I don't really want to knock Goldberg too much, because in my mind, I think he is a surefire Hall of Famer, as well as the Dudley Boyz are themselves. The Dudleys, of course, wrestled for ECW before they came to WWE, and then once they left, really led TNA to having a really good tag team division over there as well. I know that even though Jarrett's going into the Hall of Fame, I don't think that really what you do in TNA helps your status of going in. But to me, honestly, there was a time that TNA really had a better tag team division than WWE really did themselves. And, they had young guys, they had old experienced guys that had wrestled for, WCW as well as WWE, like New Age Outlaws, that really blended everything together with teams like, the Motor City Machine Guns, and just made a really, really fun time to be there. Of course, the Dudley Boyz would split and go in different directions, where Bully Ray would become one of the biggest heels in the business, where he would main event Bound for Glory, going up against AJ Styles, and probably one of the last big TNA pay-per-views that they would ever run. Go ahead and fight me on that. I dare you. The Dudleys, they won every belt in the world. There honestly was the tag team division. They never wrestled for WCW because of the invasion. They were able to say that they won it. It's sort of cheap the way they say they did it, but a win's a win. They got their picture with the belt. They got video of it, so it is what it is. From there we go to Ivory. Ivory, to me, definitely isn't one of the best women to go in to the Hall of Fame. Definitely China would have to be a surefire #1 Hall of Famer. I've been debating making like a top 5 people that are not in the Hall of Fame video. I need to make that honestly sooner than later if I get a chance before the Hall of Fame. I think I'll do that because I've been putting that off for a long time. Maybe the resurgence of Glow is the reason why Ivory is going to be going into the Hall of Fame. She was a really good wrestler. She basically came from the Hollywood side of wrestling to being in wrestling, and then actually became an actual WWE wrestler. She blended in and became a really good wrestler, having really good matches, as well as finding a way to blend into commentary and extending her career in WWF, hosting shows like Livewire, and I'm not sure, it wasn't Wrestling Challenge, but one of those sort of USA shows, and that's sort of why they extended out of there. Jeff Jarrett going in, had a really good career in the wrestling business. This is a guy who's a member of the Bullet Club, as well as led his own wrestling company. Out of the ashes of WCW, that was looked at as some sort of a competition to WWE. I can honestly tell you that during the time of Kurt Angle jumping and having the matches against Samoa Joe, I believe that if you split the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown divisions and basically didn't look at it as WWE having one locker room, you put the TNA locker room against Raw or SmackDown, I honestly think that TNA had a better roster than both of those shows. I think that definitely if you put those shows together, they would knock TNA out of the park. But definitely, I think that TNA for a while was running a better show than Raw and or SmackDown at that time. Jeff Jarrett, this guy that just kept plugging along. Definitely one of the things that is going to be remembered of his career more than anything else is him being a guy that stood up to Vince McMahon and basically told him that he wasn't going to wrestle the match against China if he did not get his money in advance. Of course, the money in advance that he's asked for is not to lose the match to China, but he basically just wanted to make sure that he was to get all the money that was owed to him, whether that was money for pay-per-view buys and or t-shirts, merchandise. He basically just wanted all of his money up front to be able to leave. But Jeff Jarrett, to me, is always going to be a guy that was remembered as a guy that in the matter of like 3 years, jumped from WWE to WCW back and forth, back and forth. He never was a surefire main event guy, but definitely was one of those guys that really filled in the show, especially during that In Your House era, where he was a really good Intercontinental Champion as well as a really good character. I think that a lot of people right now are riding high on him because of the Be My Baby Tonight, which was, of course, made famous by Conrad and Bruce Pritchard. On the What Happened When show. But that's something to wrestle. What Happened When is the Tony show. But I think it's really cool that he's to be going in. I never thought that it was going to happen, especially with how soon it is that he was just involved in TNA. And who knows? I mean, TNA is looking for somebody to sell to right now. Jarrett might go into the Hall of Fame and in a matter of no time owns the company again and leading the charge against WWE. Hillbilly Jim, got to be going in, one of the greatest wrestling characters of all time as a part of the Rock and Wrestling thing. Didn't really have a long career, can't really think of any big matches that he was ever in except for that minis match at WrestleMania 3. Mark Henry going in, to me, is a real big surprise because of the fact that he just was wrestling for WWE, it seems like. I'm pretty sure he was at WrestleMania 32 and he wrestled in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I don't want to knock this guy too much because he really did have a really good career. But to me, going in to the WrestleMania Hall of Fame within a year of your retirement, that should be saved for guys like Shawn Michaels, saved for guys like Edge, that, were some of the best of their time. Everybody else is sort of be waiting on the sideline. Hopefully they'll get that call. I know that Henry is still going to be doing work with the company, but might not be wrestling matches unless they bring him back for that legend spot on Monday Night Raw or on sporadic pay-per-view somewhere along the way when they need somebody to wrestle against Coachman or something like that. But I don't know. And then from there we go to Kid Rock. This one's a real big surprise to me. Of course, he did have the theme song to WrestleMania. Which one did he have? I know he has the one to this year with New Orleans. He had it for 30. He sang the Stacy Keibler theme. He sang the Undertaker theme. I don't know what Fred Durst is up to. I know he pissed a lot of people off when he did the whole thing. At SummerSlam when he flipped off the camera and Vince had to apologize to some sponsors and things like that. But it's not like he knew he was going to be on live TV when he did that. But the theme song to WrestleMania 17, the song that they used for The Rock versus Austin, and just one more fight thing. To me, I'd put them in before I put Kid Rock, and especially when you're looking at something for the celebrity wing, I put Muhammad Ali in before I put anybody else in. So that's what's going to be going down with WrestleMania. I'm going to add this into the WrestleMania full show, and hope we'll see what goes down at WrestleMania. It'd be nice to see all these guys have their moment of stepping out on their stage and sort of accepting that award. I'm not 100% sure if it's on Friday, if I'm going to watch the Hall of Fame or not, but we'll see what happens on the road to WrestleMania.